How are you guys doing today? My name is Brady and welcome to a new video here on the channel. Today's video we will be following up to my Skyrim Survival Mode review, so if you guys haven't checked that video out, make sure you do before or after this. In today's video we will be covering 10 tips for players that are new to Skyrim Survival Mode. These are basic tips that you may or may not already know. These tips are in no particular order, and if you have any additional tips that I do not cover, feel free to leave them in the comments below for other people. So, for tip number 1, we will be discussing the best race to play as within survival mode, and that will be the orc. I won't be covering all races and their perks here in this video, as I've covered them all in my survival mode review. Here we will be focusing on the most beneficial in the game, which is the orc, as it has built-in resistance to cold, hunger, and fatigue. This is extremely powerful, as these are all 3 of the things that survival mode has implemented into the game. Orcs have a 15% fatigue and hunger resistance with a built-in plus 10 warmth rating. Although certain races may have some stats that have higher resistances or increased warmth, none have all 3 built in like the orcs. And trust me, that boost to all 3 goes a long way. Tip number 2 will be using dragons to your advantage to open up fast travel within the mode. In survival mode, it can be a pain to get from one side of the map to the other. Yes, you can use the carriage to travel to all of the main cities, and yes, you can use a horse to get to these places quicker. But for those areas that are out of the way, it can be a real pain for you to get to and can honestly take an unnecessary amount of time. Utilizing the Ben Will shout after unlocking all 3 words to the shout will allow you to ride dragons and fast travel. This tip may not help in the survival aspect of things, but it will definitely save you and your sanity from having to walk constantly from one place to the other. Tip number 3 is avoiding water as much as possible in survival mode. Water in cold areas or rain in cold areas will decrease your warmth and make you colder, so it is essential to avoid it as much as you can. There are a few ways to get around this, such as riding a horse through freezing water or using the Flame Cloak spell to temporarily make you immune to the effects of cold water. But in all honesty, it is best to avoid it as much as you can. Tip number 4 is to utilize vampire and werewolf abilities in survival mode. This is useful for a few reasons, such as being able to feed on people in either state to restore your hunger, or removing severe cold effects while transformed into either a werewolf or a vampire lord. It is possible to become a werewolf by completing the companion's quest line, or becoming a vampire by coming into contact with another vampire, which are found all throughout Skyrim. My 5th tip is going to be utilizing shrines as much as possible to cure disease before they get out of hand. However, they are not free in survival mode as they usually would be. They cost 100 gold to activate, or you can build some in your Hearthfire houses you can use for free. That is it on that one. Just use the shrines. It is that simple. My 6th tip is to make sure you are sleeping in beds only inside if you can. This may be a stupid tip, but I didn't realize when I first started playing survival mode that sleeping in beds that are not enclosed in a building that you physically have to go through a loading screen to get to do not allow you to get a full rest in. The max you can get down to is always going to be drained if you're not inside. I suggest doing things to make people like you to allow you to sleep in their beds, or just renting a room in an inn for 10 gold. My 7th tip would be to try to incorporate restoration magic in any way, shape, or form into your build, as you will not be passively regenerating health in survival mode. There is nothing worse than being mid-fight and either having to run away from your fight or simply dying because you do not have the ability to heal yourself efficiently in combat. This isn't a restoration magic build, so I'm not going to be going into detail about which perks are best, so I'd recommend searching a video to get that info. My 8th tip is to always have a companion with you roaming around the world. This is possibly the most important tip on here because companions are overpowered in survival mode. Not literally, like they don't kill anything faster, but their benefits are great. They are obviously another set of hands to help you in fighting, but they are also another backpack for you to store loads of items onto. With survival mode, your inventory can be limited as you have a much smaller carry weight base. From level 1 it goes from 300 to 150 when turned on. This is a 50% reduction. Using a companion can fix that issue though, as you can give them items to hold that you usually wouldn't be able to afford to hold in survival mode. You can quickly acquire a companion in Fandel or Sven basically as soon as you start the game in Riverwood. From there, you can slowly acquire better companions as you progress throughout the game. My 9th tip for new players is to always utilize the cooking pot. Many things on their own are not going to be that beneficial to your hunger and are going to take up a ton of inventory space for you. Utilizing the cooking pot allows you to eat things that can take away more hunger but also offer nice bonuses to you as well. I'd also tell you that salt piles are essential, as many things you're going to want to cook require them, so make sure that you're grabbing them as often as you can. And finally, my last tip number 10 is simple. Pay attention to your warmth rating on your armor. Don't just equip an armor because you like the looks of it or because it's powerful in a normal playthrough. I'd prefer any type of heavy armor, or if you're playing as a light armor build, then always make sure you have a set of fur armor and a torch on you. Coldness is, however, different in each region of Skyrim, so make sure that you're constantly aware of your temperature, as if you end up getting too cold, then you will actually die from the elements. But guys, that is all for my tips for Skyrim Survival Mode right now. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to hit the like button down below and make sure that you subscribe. If you guys show enough love to this video, I may even make a part 2 for you guys that want it. But for now, I'm signing off. Thank you guys so much for watching, and peace out until the next video.